All right. I don't even know what the first question is going to be yet. Man, there was so much in these chapters.
What chapter are you looking
at? The pictures
there,
now.
Jen?
That was 26.
Oh.
The picture, I'm thinking it's something that he digested.
And I didn't show you guys this, but this is the
Gilly
cover.
Weed,
I'm
nice.
sure you guys saw this at a glance. This is the cover of the
I didn't.
illustrated version. So this isn't.
That
this is not for
gave
first-time
away.
readers. This is for people who are established, seasoned readers.
Yep.
Give everything away. Just
Wow.
like
There's a full dragon on the cover.
That's amazing.
But it's also just
Hungarian
like the
horn
cover
tail.
for the audiobook, which I showed
Yeah.
Dan
absurd that they
finally
did
got
that.
to see it.
Can't believe they did that. That's insane to me.
Well, I'm glad we're creating content for the first-time readers out there. None of the other content seems to be.
Yeah.
That was good.
We got our oak matured mead right here too. It's delicious.
Oh,
Another
that's what
Hagrid.
this picture is too. That's his dad. That's Hagrid holding his dad on the chapter cover.
Oh, like a family picture.
I couldn't figure.
okay.
I didn't know what that was for so
Yeah.
long.
It's a strange little picture.
Yeah, I
cute,
feel like
though.
I actually saw that one. Oh. Yeah.
Well, never mind.
Which chapter was that?
My mind went to like how big was his mom, and then how little was his dad. I'm like,
Oh, Jen.
Which chapter was that?
24. Sorry, 24.
How does that work? That was actually one of my questions. How did that work?
That was not one of your questions.
Apparently, I'm obsessed about butts or something like that. Here, so
I mean, apparently, it's all true.
Hold on. How about we'll open with this? Because this is one of the most ridiculous things ever. How creepy is Myrtle in these chapters?
I know,
Very
watching the
creepy.
guys
Very.
undress, but I closed my eyes. Like,
How old is Myrtle too? And when you
Yeah.
become a ghost, are you trapped at that age?
Yep.
If she's high school Myrtle still and no
She
mental
wants to
maturity,
sing.
okay, I can give it to her in a weird way. But it's also just so weird because she's very old
Yeah.
and just not telling people she's there. What'd she say to Harry? Usually I don't say anything.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Usually she's just watching the prefects take baths.
Yeah.
But it's weird.
So
That whole
bizarre.
bathroom is a little strange too.
And now I'm starting to get weird vibes about the prefects in general.
Yeah.
That's like a
A little
strange
cult
thing.
community.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, there's like a mermaid. Like, what is she?
Why is the
even
bath so big? Are they all
doing?
bathing together?
Yeah, that's my thought. Yeah.
It's just-
Are they all
yeah,
bathing
that's the
together?
part that feels
Is
weird.
it and it's co-ed?
I guess
Yeah.
when you're a prefect, you can do things like that.
Oh, you're just have that.
Even the mermaid
fun, kids.
painting. You're right. Because it's like
It
you
was
just
a
got this
little bit,
mermaid like
sensual,
watching
like,
people
Yeah.
while they bathe. Like, I don't want a painting watching me while I bathe.
We
It's
got
just
that.
weird.
We got Myrtle. We got kids bathing together.
Yeah,
just not
it's a
good.
whole thing.
And then
and it's really
bizarre.
deep. The tub,
yeah. And Harry's doing laps in it.
and there's tons of different soaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the heck are these
Really
prefects doing?
foamy. It makes you float.
And then even how
magic
insane Myrtle is not only creepy, but she is actually insane. That one girl came in the bathroom because
Oh,
she
yeah.
said,
What
"Oh,
happened?
like
I
Myrtle, Professor so and so wants me to come check on you. Are you still in here?"
Yeah.
And just because she came to check on her, Myrtle got so mad and haunted that girl.
Specifically.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then that girl had to get essentially a restraining order from the Ministry of
So
Magic because
crazy.
Myrtle kept haunting her everywhere she went. That's why Myrtle is back in the castle. How ridiculous is she? Like, are you kidding me?
Wait. So was that girl the one who did Myrtle die because of her? Was that the thing? Like
Maybe.
that girl was gonna come in and check in on her, but didn't find her, and then left, and that's why she died or something.
No, because she was dead.
she was already dead.
She was already
But
dead.
that girl, did that girl find her?
I guess she was the girl that found
Yeah,
the dead
wasn't
body.
it?
That's a weird
'Cause you
reason
said
to
the
haunt
teacher
somebody.
sent. Who was it?
Yeah, I
Whoever
forgot to
sent
go
her.
look
I was
at the teacher and I
trying.
forgot the student. I
Yeah.
wrote that down.
But then I
They
thought
sent her and
was
she
like,
found
was it had nothing to do with how she died or anything like that. Like this was just a random girl. That's why at first I got confused. I was like, wait, was it someone tied to like her story?
I forgot who she said
Or-
in the second book who was the one that made fun of her and that she was in the bathroom crying because of it. Because that was so it might have been the same person. I got to look that up. But
Then that would make more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still.
It's just some random other person that walks in that's checking on her and then she haunts that
Right.
person. Absurd. That is actual insanity right there. It's also terrifying for that person. I feel bad for them.
I'm not that creeped out by Myrtle in general.
You wouldn't mind her watching.
Well, she just seems so much better than Peeves.
in the bath.
I'm just like, I'd rather have Myrtle around than Peeves. Peeves is like touching stuff and throwing water balloons and like, he seems more
that's
like
mischief.
dangerous. That's mischief too, but like it feels like there's more to it. With Myrtle, she's not like really
that's
messing
sweet.
with anything.
She's a little
Although all
pervy.
the wailing, well, a little pervy, but I think.
But guys don't seem to care. I feel like, do you?
I don't think that's true, but I feel like, oh man, this is weird. But the perviness goes down when she's a ghost. I feel like that's just a thing, you know?
No way.
It goes. Wait, the level of perversion.
Like I'm
goes
more creeped out
down.
by Moody with his eye and being able to look through clothing
True.
than I am Myrtle because I'm like, she's a ghost. Like whatever.
See, I'm not.
What is she gonna do?
What is she gonna do exactly? And also like. She's seen it all by now. She's been around for what?
It's so has
Because she just sits
Literally.
there and watches them.
And she's in the toilets. Like
But
she's
maybe
getting bad angles.
she wanted to learn. She never got to grow up, so she's like, "What does this look like?"
She likes the butts.
She knows very clearly because she's hanging out in the prefect's bathroom watching them all bathe, watching Harry bathe. Usually she doesn't talk, but she
It
really
might
likes
not
Harry, so.
just nothing.
She is kind of flirting. She's spitting game.
Oh, she is.
She definitely has a crush on Harry.
Have ghosts
She's so
ever married
creepy.
humans?
How would that work?
I don't know.
We talked
I have
about
no idea.
how
They can't
Hagrid's dad and
breathe.
Hagrid's mom is working. How does a ghost and a normal person? How does that happen? How does that work?
Maybe it would be kind of romantic. It's like a long courting period
Yeah, we're not
until
talking about the same thing.
somebody
Harry.
dies, and then you can both be ghosts together.
Oh, very romantic.
A
Oh,
long,
you took a sweet side.
What were you thinking?
I'm not saying.
Do you think that you're sidestepping that question onto ghosts still? Do you think that ghosts don't like being ghosts? Do you ever think that they regret being ghosts? Because in the Death Day party, they were talking about food and like there was a rotting smell, and he's like, "Oh, you can almost taste it." Do you ever think that they don't want to be ghosts anymore, and they just don't have an option?
well,
they're
they
ghosts?
didn't, right? They don't have an option, do they?
I feel
think
like
so.
they did because one thing kind of hinted at it. Maybe I'm just inserting my own thoughts about it. I don't remember, but it felt like you would stop becoming a ghost at some point.
When you
How?
accomplish something.
Yeah,
that
like
you
I thought
didn't
there was
finish.
something.
That's right.
Yeah, like the
I'm
reason
making
you
that up.
became a ghost is because you were holding on to something so tightly when you died. Maybe.
So what is Myrtle holding on to?
I don't know.
Grudge.
A
At
grudge?
first, it was to haunt
Perversion.
the girl or whatever.
Oh my gosh. She's having too
Yeah.
much fun.
She's holding on to her adolescence. She needs to let that go. She needs to mature
Well, she
up. as
never
a
grew
ghost.
up, so I guess
I
that
know.
makes sense.
There is a sense to it where the ghosts are ghosts because they couldn't let go of something. But I don't think it's to the point where if they do let go of that as a ghost, they cease being ghosts. It seems like they are ghosts and they will be ghosts for.
But you had a decision in that, like you can go
Yeah, well, how
to
do you think that works?
heaven or hell, or you can become a ghost.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm thinking of like in Pirates of the Caribbean where they can't taste food anymore. When in the first one they're like turning into skeletons in the moonlight, and he's like complaining that he can't taste food or experience love, and he's like hates that, and that is the whole purpose of his life is to get away from that. Captain Barbossa and the rest of his pirates. But I feel like that would make sense. Or I almost spoiled the end of Good Place. Yeah, a great show. I enjoyed that. And there was a point in the show.
Clearly, there's
though-
a ghost in that show somewhere.
well, like where they had like so much of a good thing, but because it didn't have an ending, they were like, it loses a little something. And
Yeah.
we won't get into the theological commentary they're making, but like just the idea of, I feel like it'd be rough for a ghost if there was no end, no purpose, no goal, no time. Like every person you meet as a ghost, except other ghosts, is going to die eventually.
Yeah.
So that's like kind of sad. So what does a ghost want?
Or Ghost with Demi Moore and
I never saw that.
Patrick Swayze?
thank you. Yeah.
I've never seen the movie, but
Isn't there some pottery scene or something?
yeah,
like that?
that's all
really
I
steamy.
know.
That's the
Right.
only thing I know.
Because that was from like
Whoopi
Community or
Goldberg's in
something.
it
That's
and
right.
stuff. Yeah.
Whoopi Goldberg. Wow.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Ghosts. Yeah, ghosts are strange in Harry Potter. I feel like
They have a purpose.
yeah,
But then they
They
can
definitely have a
disappear.
purpose. There are too many of them to not.
But then the poltergeist piece.
Well, that's why I don't understand.
That one I don't
became
get.
much more
still,
of a main
even though
character
you
in this.
explained it, but I don't
book.
get
Yeah.
it. So.
He's not a ghost at all, and that's what one of our subredditors is saying. He's just like the energy of the students all combined in mass. I think I would. Peeves is annoying, but he's like just mischievous. He doesn't have.
Like,
I think
starting
ill
to
intent.
realize that. I think, but the whole Filch
Myrtle
thing.
is.
Oh,
What
yeah.
the heck?
She was helping Harry though.
I don't know
She
why
helps-
Harry wasn't being more like, oh wow, I've got an ally here. This is great. She's literally exploring all this whole area, all these pipes, whatever, and she starts giving him hints. I'm like, ask her to go do some.
And then she
reconnaissance
really
for you.
helps him.
Yeah.
In the task.
So it felt like a missed opportunity when Harry just kind of let that one go by. I'm like, tell her to scout it out and come back and ask for more information or like plan to meet up later when the task starts.
That's an interesting one too. I think Professor Binns is probably the most brilliant entity on Earth, right? He's been around for so long. He probably knows so much about magic history. He probably just goes to his office and studies, and then
You're right.
he has an attorney to do that. Do you think ever the students are going to tap into the knowledge of the ghosts? Like, because Myrtle, I mean, she's an immature, but she's got knowledge.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it
just
feels
sit
like they
down
don't
and talk to
respect
them
it.
and be
Yeah.
like, give me everything you know.
Yeah. Do you ever think they're going to do it with Nearly Headless Nick or the Bloody Baron or?
I don't know if they would think to. Maybe Hermione would think to.
They completely dismiss it,
Yeah.
and that's what's frustrating.
Yeah.
Even Harry in this moment, I'm yelling at the book. Ask her more questions. Like, she must know so much about this castle. And that would be true for all the ghosts.
Yeah, for sure.
But they don't really seem to care about it. Not sure why.
Anyway, we'll talk about that more. But welcome to our podcast. I'm John,
Jen.
Danny?
And Kristen.
and this is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. Give us a rating, give us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, go follow us on our subreddit, r/First Time Readers. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel at First Time Readers. All the social media stuff. I think our subreddit is our most enjoyable one right now. It kind of brings back the old days of MuggleNet. So go check that out, r/First Time Readers. We have Patreon. We have all sorts of other stuff if you want to support us. If you want bookmarks, if you want stickers, reach out to me at firsttimereaders@gmail.com. And then just to let you guys know, this episode is chapters 24 to 27, but we are recording for so long that we're going to break this up into two, which is going to be 24 to 25 and 26 to 27. We're going to release a little bit later this week. So the cutoff might be a little abrupt at the end of this specific episode, but just hang on because part 2 is coming later on at the end of this week. Thanks for listening. Thank you so much for listening. Your support means the world to us. We are so grateful for our fan base, and enjoy this episode. Were you eating an apple last podcast?
No.
Or chips?
Probably.
Popcorn, maybe popcorn.
There was some chewing going on.
Because I heard some chewing.
I don't listen.
But it
I
was so
try to
funny.
back up.
It was so funny. I loved it. 'Cause you would just like,
That was popcorn.
every once in a while, we just hear Jen chewing, and all of a sudden she'd like throw in a comment. Whenever we heard her chewing, she's like, "Oh,
That
she's
was
riling
after
up
my
right now."
work. That was after my work dinner.
Yeah, that was so great.
That's why. I like inhaled that popcorn.
You and Wes both.
Wes loved it too. Okay, chapter 24, the egg in the eye. Let's try to speed through this because we have a
Wait, didn't
lot
we
of
skip
stuff.
something or no?
Yeah, Tony, as soon as we did the intro, goes insert music here.
Yeah.
Which is
Nice.
my editorial note. Thank you very much. Did we skip what?
I thought readers. Wait.
No, we did Reese. Oh no, sorry, I mislabeled the chapters. Rita Skeeter Scoop. You're right. Sorry for
Okay.
stressing you out.
Yeah. Thank you.
Wait.
I re-listened to an extra chapter twice that we weren't even going to cover.
What is the summary of this chapter?
Oh, I didn't do summaries. Kristen, you want to handle the summaries
Oh,
this
no.
time?
Hold on. Let me just.
Well, I know that the main theme, like the title, is that this is the article Rita wrote. So this is the chapter where the article comes out, the one that hates on Hagrid.
Dumbledore's
and
giant
Moody.
mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she first, the title of that article hates on Dumbledore. Then she has like a little paragraph about Moody being a bad choice. And then really the core of the article brings it around to Hagrid and saying how he's a bad care of magical creatures teacher.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else? Oh, there was a lot more that
And
happened.
not only a
but that
bad
was
care of
just
magical creatures teacher, he's dangerous.
he's dangerous, yes.
Oh, right.
Like the article was like, kind of about his teaching, but it was more so like this person is a dangerous person because he's a half giant. Half giants are terrible.
Yep. Outing him like that, not cool.
Yeah.
But this starts off with Harry reluctantly he doesn't take Cedric's advice. And he's very reluctant about taking that. Is he stupid?
Yes.
Yes.
Or is he smart?
No.
I feel like he has to be skeptical a little bit. No.
I felt like it was coming from a place of pride.
Explain that.
Oh yeah.
Explain why he's being skeptical and explain why it's coming from pride. Ready, go.
You can go first.
Want me to go first?
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like because Cedric took Cho to the ball, he was like, I'm not going to take his advice. It was just, to me, it was petty. And he was like, I'm not going to take his advice just because I'm jealous. And I'm like, sit down, get off your pride and jealousy and take the advice because you clearly don't know what's going on. I don't know. It annoyed me.
I can see that. I thought it was more like Harry's finally like his ranking has gone up. He was not the underdog anymore because he did so well in the dragon task that Cedric could be this really nice guy, but like he might want to be tripping him up somehow because he actually saw how good Harry might potentially be at these tasks, and Harry's a lot younger than him. Maybe he does want to like, you know, throw a little wrench in there and make him do something ridiculous or set him up. And then he just got over the whole like Harry stinks kind of thing and those buttons. So I was wondering if he was afraid, okay, I'm going to be trapped. I'm going to go into this tub thing and like maybe the whole school will find out about this little task that he had me do and I'll get made fun of again and be on like the outs again with everyone at Hogwarts. So that's what I was thinking.
So I think his motive, I think you nailed it with his motive. I think Jen's point is really interesting too, because if you eliminate his motive of just his pettiness at Cedric for being able to take Cho rather than it, someone still wants to kill Harry. Harry's smart for not taking advice from anybody. The only people he should really take advice for are Ron,
Cedric?
are Ron, probably Hermione. Dumbledore would never give him advice. Moody's probably a good person to take advice from.
Is he though?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Maybe we'll talk about that.
We're definitely going to talk about it in the next chapter.
We'll get there. Yeah, that's essentially what I meant. We'll get there. Is he? He's an interesting dude. Cedric, he sees him. He's inching ahead in the standings. And there's a possibility that whoever is trying to kill Harry got to Cedric. We learned about the Imperious Curse of controlling someone. Could someone possibly be controlling even Cedric for what he does? And saying, go take it.
But in that case, you can't trust Ron and Hermione.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyone.
Yeah.
Oh, because they already know that they're so close. Oh, gosh.
Like, I feel like if someone was going to do that, they'd take them.
Yeah.
And in these chunk of chapters, we learned about truth serum as well. So another reason to just not trust anybody, because Ron and Hermione are great, but what if someone hits them with a truth serum and then they're making them tell some of Harry's secrets? So it's kind of like...
And you mentioned that a few podcasts a long time ago. You were talking about something. You were like, I wonder if they could like make a potion that makes you like, you know, spill the beans or tell the truth or something like that. And I was like, just wait till before Danny.
And so weird that he just leaves it on his person at all times.
Yeah.
It's either really valuable or he was using that thing. So I'm like, that's just weird. Just like right in his pocket.
I feel like there's definitely some potions that you just
there's so many things.
Keep on you at all times for like the sheer value that they have.
It's like
I think
his
that's one
pocket knife version of a pocket knife.
Seriously,
Yep. Makes sense.
That's actually a great analogy.
They always have it on them.
Yeah.
Never know what you need it for.
or the whatever the creaming things. I don't know.
What you got?
12% right there.
The canaries, yes.
Canary cream thing.
Exactly. You need a whole fanny pack full of like all the things you could ever imagine. You just pull it out. I want to be a canary for a second.
Yeah.
Or if Harry wants to be a shark or whatever else, if he was going to take Crumb's move.
Yeah, seriously. Fred and George are just great right here.
Yeah.
They are so cool. I love them as characters. In this chapter and then the next chapter, we learn that Dumbledore secured 2 jobs for 2 people who maybe shouldn't have gotten jobs. Snape is one. We'll talk about that probably for a long time later. But he secured one for Hagrid. Hagrid was expelled. Why do you think he secured a job for Hagrid?
He has no one else. His parents are like, his dad died. His mom left. Yeah. He was still young. So he got expelled, what, third year? How old are you then? Like, is that 15?
Yeah. Maybe younger.
Yeah. So like, where is he supposed to go?
Yeah.
I feel like he's giving a second chance for that.
Yeah. I feel like to Dumbledore, it's more than just a job. It's like he's caring about the people. I guess when it comes to Hagrid, maybe.
So you guys don't, I mean, we have to compare and contrast this. So Snape, we talk about Snape a little bit later, but Dumbledore, do we trust Dumbledore? Yes or no?
Yeah.
As of now, yes.
He's one of the few people I actually trust.
So we don't trust Snape, but this is a line that always gets used in the book. Dumbledore trusts Snape. So do we trust Snape, or he just seems still so shady?
Well, and it's the same thing with Quirrell, Lockhart. Yeah. These are people that Dumbledore, in theory, trusts.
Yeah,
he trusted them enough to bring them into Hogwarts and put them in charge of students. And look what happened. So, yes, I trust Dumbledore as a person, but his stamp of approval does not mean that much to me. And even Moody, we've got Dumbledore's stamp of approval and a couple other people, including Sirius and the Weasleys. And I'm like, I don't know if I really fully trust Moody. So I go back and forth. But yeah, the Dumbledore stamp of approval is questionable.
Yeah.
But maybe is that just thrown around like he trusts him because they're trying to hide something?
Well, yeah,
too?
everyone keeps saying that, but I don't fully get why they're saying that. We see, Dumbledore trusts him in a sense, but I'm like, what have we actually seen that is Dumbledore putting tangible trust in Snape more than making him a teacher? He's
that's
also
something. The house.
Yeah. Okay. He's
what
in charge of the house. Yeah.
In charge. Yeah. But it's Slytherin too, so maybe I don't know.
So that's
sorry, Tony.
Good and bad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The Snape one is an interesting one. We'll get there in the next few chapters because it's kind of, I think it's.
But I do agree, what you were saying though with Dumbledore. I feel like it's he allows people, even if he doesn't fully trust their intentions, they're under his watch. So even if they aren't, maybe it's questionable, he's there. So if anything does go astray, they're under his watch and he's going to take care of it. Maybe.
Yeah, better for them to be closer to him.
Trust? I don't know.
And elsewhere? Maybe better for them to be closer to him. So
right, keep your enemies closer kind of thing. But then there's kids involved, so that's weird too.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's actually a really interesting point.
Safest place, so
Yeah, Hogwarts is the safest place.
But then he knows what's going on.
Yeah. Maybe Snape is incredibly dangerous, and that's why Dumbledore does really keep him
Or
close.
maybe Dumbledore knows something else is up with Snape, and he's like, you know what? When he starts doing this, I know what's going to happen next. Only because the last chapter. Or not the last.
I can't wait to get to the last chapter. I'm so excited.
Well, even the egg in the eye one, I was stuck on that one for a long time.
There's so much good stuff in there.
What did Aberforth do to a goat?
That's my last question.
That was weird. Where was Dumbledore's brother?
Aberforth on 454.
So there are hilarious
inappropriate stuff with a goat. It says something like that.
Without fail, JK will get this question all the time from young fans. It's almost becoming a running gag.
That is funny.
So there was one time, it's a really, really popular time. I'll send you the video of it. Someone asked her this they were in the aisle and, it was a massive group of people. And this kid steps up and asks, what was Aberforth doing with a goat? Probably parents put him up to it.
Way.
And she looks at him and goes, how old are you?
No.
It says, I can't. And I think she says I'm not going to talk about it right here, but maybe when your parents get older or something like that, they can talk about it.
Wait, do you have it?
Hilarious.
Can you read it?
So Hagrid is basically talking about what he did. He's feeling bad after the article. And then Dumbledore basically says people will get over it. It's fine. He says, my brother Aberforth was prosecuted for practicing inappropriate charms on a goat. It was all over the papers, But did Aberforth hide? No, he did not. He held his head high and went about his business as usual. Of course, I'm not entirely sure he can read, so that may not have been bravery.
That was
So
good.
it's such a funny dynamic.
And such polar opposites.
I know.
Yeah.
It is such a. It is
Well,
such
do
a
we know
strange little
Dumbledore can
occurrence.
read? I don't know.
Yeah, can Dumbledore?
I mean, he knows spells, so he has to read,
Yeah, I
no?
guess.
Or you just
But
memorize
so did
it?
Aberforth.
Well, yeah.
Dumbledore is an interesting guy too, even for that. Like, as he thinks of that of his brother, he's not even sure if his brother can read or not. I know he's probably saying this all joking.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like a funny little note, but I wonder what his relationship is with his brother, Aberforth, and where his brother is at the moment. Do you think Dumbledore has other siblings?
Well, it seems like he could.
Hmm.
But it just says my brother, so.
Yeah.
I feel like can't all the wizards just have like tons of kids like the Weasleys? No?
Maybe there's some magical way. That's how Hagrid got born. Because
Maybe they don't have to actually give birth. Well, oh god,
There has to be some magic involved. I'm sorry.
Well, maybe. No, never mind.
And on that note, I want to know, why are the goblins looking for Barty Crouch? And where do you think Barty Crouch is?
Wait, so can we back up one thing?
Yes.
So this is Bagman. Harry sees Bagman talking to the goblins out, right?
Yeah.
And then I thought Bagman was making up a story saying that, oh, we're talking about Crouch. No.
I thought
Maybe.
it was a cover.
Do you
I
think
thought
he
it
was
a
covering?
cover. I thought it was a cover.
What do you think he's covering for then?
Wait, can you say that
I'm
again,
so
Jen?
gullible. I just believe everything.
That's really astute that you just didn't believe what he said.
I didn't, because the way he said it, I don't know what page it's on. Do you
Jen
know?
is
still in
like
chapter
the
24,
psychologist with this kind of stuff. I love this. You knew, you immediately knew who Hermione was going with.
Oh, yeah, that
immediately
was
knew
so
this?
easy.
Yeah.
That was easy I thought.
You'd have to be an idiot.
I did not say that. Don't you put words in my mouth. No, just because the way he was like, oh yeah, we're talking about where Crouch is or what he's up to or something. I don't know. Where is this? What chapter are we on?
Yeah, I was just gonna say
24.
Okay.
We're still on,
Yeah, we're still on 24.
and it was towards the end of it, right? I'm trying to just find it, pull it up real quick, but.
So there is a possibility. So we're bringing up two possibilities here. The first is that he could just be telling the truth that they were talking about Barty Crouch and where he is. The second is that he could have just said something really quick because he was really covering for something else. And the question is, if he was covering for
Here it
something
is.
else, what was he covering for? But if he was telling the truth, where is Barty Crouch? Both of those questions are very pertinent,
Yep.
regardless of if he's telling the truth or not.
It's on like 448, 449-ish sections.
What?
I don't know. Apparently, I wrote maybe Crouch is a magical creature. Why did I write that?
Crouch is a goblin.
Oh, because it says Hermione gave Ron a "Don't joke about things look like that below," and said, "Funny, goblins looking for Mr. Crouch. They normally deal with the Department for Regulation and Control of Magical Creatures." So I was like, maybe they're trying to control him, and he's a magical creature.
Ooh,
That's funny. Nice.
that's a good theory. I kind of like that.
That's ridiculous, but it's there.
I feel like it's got to be something with money, because don't the goblins run Gringotts now? So I don't know what that could mean, but there's a lot of money flying around, and I feel like his department would have a lot of pull. People would care what decisions are made, but
So the goblins really do care about money. So there's some monetary issue that's going on right now.
I would think so, but I don't know what issue. Maybe they run the bets. McGonagall goes to them to place her bets.
So would Bagman then be deep in debt because of a bet, or is he asking for
I would
money
say
from the
he would
goblins?
definitely be deep in debt to a lot of people. Maybe he had to pay off his debts. He took out a debt from the goblins to pay some of his other gambling debts, because he does have a gambling thing. As much as we joke about McGonagall, he actually does. He's trying to rope kids into gambling and stuff.
Oh, yeah, you're
like
right.
Fred and George, and he's ready for gambling at all times. So I wonder, there actually might be gambling for the Triwizard Tournament, but I think it's more likely he's just deeply in
That's
debt.
illegal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you
secret.
jumping on Jen's theory where you think he's telling a lie about Crouch?
That's not my original thought. It is a great thought.
Let's talk about him being honest just for 1 second.
Yeah,
So
that was my
honest.
instinct. That's how I was thinking. They're after Crouch for something with international cooperation and money and something along those lines.
Can we just go over again Bagman and Crouch's like Ministry of Magic? One is the games.
So Ludo Bagman is the minister or the head of
games,
the
right?
games and
regulations. Oh, okay.
so he like runs the games, like Quidditch stuff. And then Crouch is international magical cooperation. And we learned earlier that he was primed to be prime minister. He was the head of the Auror office, the magical law enforcement office. But when he didn't become minister of magic, they kind of demoted him to that department because he just got crazy. So he's international or magical cooperation.
Okay. Thank you.
His job seems boring.
Well, when you
That's why
get
he's so
demoted, I feel like. But he knows all these different languages, which is then what Ron or someone says, right?
Oh, yeah.
He knows so many languages. Maybe that's
Yeah,
why
it's true. That hasn't come up yet. He
they
does know a
needed
lot of
him.
languages.
But yeah, but the way Bagman said they're looking for Barty Crouch, like the way he says it,
Yeah, he
I'm
was
like,
a little fishy at that point.
I don't believe you.
That was super fishy.
There is the part too that Barty Crouch is missing, so maybe he's just ashamed. Maybe Bagman is the one that is responsible for Barty Crouch missing. But is Barty Crouch missing?
Oh, true.
No, he's not missing.
I have a theory on that, so that's in the next chapter though.
I cannot wait. Oh my
if
gosh.
he is telling the truth, you wanted to know what about from us?
Like, what would that mean if the goblins were actually after Crouch and Bagman was not like making up a story to cover for his own money issues or whatever goblin issues?
Maybe they need Crouch to do some kind of deal with money, and they don't know how to speak a language with whatever.
An international money deal.
Yeah. That would be really boring, but yeah.
No, it could be. Yeah.
Or maybe no, it would be big news if someone stole out of the Gringotts bank, right?
It would be huge news, but big enough that they'd cover it up.
Yeah, for sure.
International.
That out, though.
And Crouch would be a perfect person to go to if he used to be in
Exactly.
charge of the Aurors and he knows the ministry super well. And it's funny because he seems legit, especially compared to Fudge. Like Fudge is in charge.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And it also brings up the question, how do you become head of the Ministry of Magic? Is it by vote?
It's democracy. It's at least
Popularity contest,
yeah.
or at least so we think.
It kind of
Interesting.
lent an ear to
But
that. It almost lent an ear to two running candidates to me. I don't think we exactly know
yes,
this, but
that would make
like
sense.
they were both like in trajectory for it, and then all of a sudden he sent his son to Azkaban, and people were like, "This guy is insane," and his popularity started dipping, and the only other person they could really vote for was Crouch, or there was
Fudge.
Fudge, and they're like, "He's better than this maniacal, insane guy."
That's like, never mind.
It's like current politics, as Jen was going to say.
Yeah, let's vote. Never mind. Really get myself.
Pull it back to Harry Potter.
yeah.
Do you have any more ideas on that?
Well, I find it also interesting. It's not just one goblin. It says goblins, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just. So I find that kind of weird too. Because if you're having like a secret discussion, it's like the head people talk to each other, not like a group to one. So like, what
Yeah.
would that mean?
Well, he could have done shady stuff in the past with money.
Who?
Crouch. Or Bagman, for that matter. Whether he's lying or telling the truth, Bagman, if the goblins are after him or Crouch, wouldn't really make a difference. I guess that's the weird part at this point. They're, to me, very similar.
Bagman and Crouch.
Yeah, just because they're both
Yeah,
at
I
the
know,
Ministry
it's
of
hard
Magic
to
and they
figure
both
out.
have like roles to play. I don't fully trust either one of them, but Bagman's more likable, but that doesn't mean he's more trustworthy. So I think
I mean, we've seen in these books the more likable characters are sometimes the characters
Yeah.
we trust, or we should trust the least, maybe.
Yep.
Yep, that's what I do.
So looking at the two of them,
Detective.
I'm just kind of like, I think of them as being very similar, especially as far as goblin theories at the moment. They both have power in the Ministry of Magic. They both seem to have some pull, and I couldn't see Crouch really getting into gambling, but I could see Bagman getting into gambling debt. But Crouch, I could see him getting mixed up in something else.
What if the goblins have someone in Azkaban that Crouch put in there and they wanted to get information or find out something?
Are there goblins in Azkaban? We don't know of any non-humans in Azkaban yet, but that could totally be.
And they wanted to know like where they found them and then put them in. I'm just trying to think why there'd be a few to one. So why would there be a bunch of goblins and Bagman instead of like a one-on-one?
I felt like they just travel in a pack.
It does feel that way.
Do they have like one leader, or is it like a pack of them?
And are these colleagues from Gringotts traveling together to get him, or is this a family? Because Crouch locked up Jimmy Goblin, and they didn't want to get him out.
Little Jimmy.
Little Jimmy Goblin.
We'll come back to this a little bit later because we're going to talk about Bagman and Crouch a lot more in this. But there's a line that our very beloved Rita Skeeter says. How about you give me an interview about the Hagrid you know, Harry, the man behind the muscles, your unlikely friendship and the reasons behind it. Would you call him a father substitute? Here's just a random side question. Is Hagrid the closest thing to a father that Harry has?
Before Sirius, I would have said yes. And right now I'm thinking maybe.
Like an uncle, I see him as.
Like a fun Hagrid uncle. Being the uncle.
Yeah.
I still feel like Harry doesn't have a father, but Grandpa Dumbledore, Uncle Sirius. I feel like Hagrid might be the closest to a father, even though he's missing a few things as far as fatherhood. But
well, Hagrid doesn't really know what fatherhood is either from his dad dying so young also.
Yeah.
And Sirius doesn't quite either. I mean, like their relationship, to me, the relationship that Sirius has with Harry seems more like the uncle kind of thing to me. I mean, because you do tell your father a lot and you like kind of spill some of your guts out, but the Hagrid relationship seems very fatherly. Like there are just things that Harry just doesn't necessarily tell Hagrid. Hagrid's kind of big and oafish a bit, so he doesn't completely trust him with everything, but I don't know. There's just interesting notes behind all that kind of stuff. If you had to choose between Hagrid and Sirius to keep in Harry's life, seems like a terrible question. But,
that's so messed up.
All right, fine. I
don't like that because I feel like they bring in different.
Yeah. They bring in different. Maybe this is the more important question. Which one do you think is influencing him more?
Ooh.
Sirius.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah.
I feel like in theory, he's influencing him. I feel like Hagrid actually is.
Yeah.
Like in a physical sense. That makes sense. They're both impacting him, but like Hagrid is there. Sirius
in the forefront of Harry's mind, I think Sirius is the one. In the back of his mind, where he doesn't, in those like subconscious, I think Hagrid's really the one that's impacting them most.
But like, what does Hagrid's impact look like, though? I guess that's what I'm struggling with.
He's there. He like seeks him out, and he can do that because he's there.
Yeah, that's true.
He's physically there.
Yeah.
So even like, just having him come over for tea.
Or like when he believed him too, right? Like when he was like, wait, you believe I didn't put my name in the...
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And even this next line too that you get when they storm to Hagrid's cabin and where they're like talking, and it says Hermione went slightly pink, but Dumbledore smiled at her and continued, Hermione, Harry, and Ron still seem to want to know you, judging by the way they were attempting to break down the door. And then Harry goes, of course we still want to know you. And I really love the turn of phrase there. He doesn't say like, yeah, Dumbledore's right. He says like, of course we want to really know you. It's not necessarily about the article or anything like that. Hagrid's nervous of his fear of not being known. And I think in a weird way, maybe Hagrid isn't really the father figure. I think he genuinely wants to be friends with Hermione, Ron, and Harry. So there's
That's
a bit
the
more
vibe
of
that
that
I
kind of
get.
dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Sirius isn't great either because he's trying to almost vicariously live through Harry in certain aspects, which I guess a lot of dads do sometimes too, but well, let's go to chapter 25, The Egg in the Eye.
Oh no, we're gonna be stuck here forever.
Which is why I'm trying to get there
awesome.
quick so we can talk about this for a very, very long time. First question. Or
Oh,
no,
wait.
go ahead, Danny. Yes,
Of
thank you.
course, Danny.
So wait,
What little
two
thing
little
did you
things.
find?
First of all, I thought it was funny when they were knocking on the door that Hermione seemed embarrassed about Dumbledore. And it just occurred to me that most students have very little exposure to Dumbledore, but Harry's so comfortable.
Yeah.
So again, Hermione being nervous in a way that Harry just isn't. And I just thought it was funny seeing her that way. But at the end, I thought there was something weird that Hagrid was saying that I was like questioning, because Hagrid was saying that Harry is fighting for all of the mixed blood. What are we saying? The half-bloods. The
Half-Bloods, yeah.
Muggle-born, right? We could say that.
No, not.
I guess.
No.
He's saying
I know
you
the
don't
line, but I
have to
forgot.
be pure blood.
Mm.
Then he
yeah,
tells
yeah.
Harry he doesn't have to be ashamed of what he is, and I was like, but isn't Harry a pure blood?
Oh, that confused me
Yeah.
too.
Because up until this point, I'm like, he definitely is. But when Hagrid said this, I was like, wait, is he not? He can at least represent people like Hermione, and he can be like their champion, so to speak. But the way Hagrid said it felt different. Like he was saying something more about Harry, and I was like, what? Then it like got glossed over pretty quick.
I
and couldn't tell.
wonder though, could it be like, so Harry, it seems as though Harry's mom is a witch, but she wasn't full, like pure blood too. So then is he like a quarter Muggle born? Like, you know how like
okay, I see what
the
you mean.
descendant,
Yeah.
you're
Like if both his parents weren't also pure blood, then
Right.
he wouldn't be pure blood.
that's what I thought.
That makes
Because
sense.
I mean, yeah. So the Dursleys, you have to keep of them. Petunia, that whole dynamic between Petunia and Lily,
Yeah.
was Petunia's parents, was Lily's parents, were they?
Well, that's true, but I'm assuming from what we're going with, it sounds as though Petunia, she's weird. Her sister was weird, so I'm thinking maybe she was the only one that was a witch.
Yeah.
So then I'm assuming that their parents
Yeah.
were Muggles,
So he's like a quarter. So Harry is.
but I could be wrong because maybe we
three-quarters
learn that
wizard
later.
and a quarter Muggle. Yeah, that's an interesting theory.
But Malfoy has never made fun of him for it. I
Yeah.
think if there was a weakness
Because
there, I
of
feel
Lily
like Malfoy would
and-
have.
James,
Yeah.
So you'd have to know more about Harry to understand that.
that's
But
what I
Hagrid
thought.
does?
Because
well,
he,
kinda does, 'cause
well,
he
he knew
dropped
all
him off
the,
there, yeah.
well, all the pictures he collected from all the, I don't know, like he,
That's
when-
true.
whatever.
And there
I'm
is an
probably
aspect
wrong,
of
but-
it too,
No,
where-
I honestly have no idea. And because it was glossed over so quickly, I thought maybe it doesn't mean anything. He might just be representing
That's true.
justice. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, like he's his best friend's a Muggle. It could be that simple too, where like he's a pure blood, but he's not in Slytherin, and he is fighting for people who are half blood and less.
Yep.
That, like he's still
Yeah,
friends with
that's
these people,
true.
so he's
It could be
breaking the
that,
stigma of being pure blood. So like this is a good fight. You like fight for this, Harry. You representing these people.
And then Aunt Petunia is, what's it called when you don't have magic? You were born.
Squib.
So I knew you would do like that. Aunt Petunia's a squib. No wonder she's bitter.
or she isn't.
And she's a
Oh,
witch
she really-
and not using her powers.
Yep.
She would have so many
Oh my
opportunities,
gosh.
though, to get Harry into shape when he was.
But she didn't go to school. She doesn't know how to handle her powers.
They
Only when
just
she's
come out when
really
you are
mad.
emotional,
Yeah.
angry, or whatever. And she was very angry. So
And she accidentally did an engorgement charm on her husband and her son.
Oh, and that's how they're
why
so
they're
fat.
so big.
oh my goodness.
The size of a whale.
We really
so
like
great.
that spell here.
Maybe she really loves Harry and like is protecting him. So like even she enlarges Aunt Marge when she's getting a little too big. Maybe it wasn't really Harry. Maybe it was Aunt Marge.
All these times I've been thinking
Or
that Harry
Aunt, she's hiding her powers through Harry this whole time.
All right, let's get to this chapter. The egg in the
yes.
eye, the one Jen is looking forward to talking about.
Yeah,
give
but
me
Danny
a
has to
quick
stop.
summary. Yeah, give me a quick summary of this chapter.
Kristen?
Harry figures out how to listen to the egg and what the clues mean. Moody helps him not get caught by Filch and Snape, and then Harry gives him the Marauders map.
Yes. First question, most important question. What's the nicest bathroom that you've ever been in?
Because I catalog that in my brain, John.
Have you ever like I mean I can't even think of that either, but have you ever walked into a bathroom and you're like, this is magnificent. This is the nicest bathroom I've ever been in.
I'm sure I have
Yeah.
thought that in the moment.
There's two.
Do you remember?
One I babysat for this family, and they redid their entire house, and I just walked they built it from scratch, and they have the funds to make it as nice as they wanted. And I walked into their bathroom. I was like, whoa, this is incredible. You have so much space that you're like naked, taking like the tub is like the center of the room,
Yeah.
and then the toilet is like
That's
its
when you know
own
it's a rich bathroom.
little thing. And I was like, I would feel weird like taking all this space, and you're in your little tub in the middle of this huge room. Yeah. And then like one of the hotels in the city was really nice growing up. When I went with my uncle, my aunt, and my cousin, we were at the Plaza Hotel.
Oh, wow.
Man.
That was pretty.
But when you're a kid and you like walk into a nice bathroom or like a hotel room, it's like the coolest thing.
Yeah, when
like-
you're little,
I
yeah.
was fascinated by every hotel room when I was
Yeah,
young. I was like,
yeah, I know.
so,
And you walk
I don't
into
know.
them now and you're
My
like,
bar
this
might
is
be low.
depressing.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is
La
gross.
Quinta Inn is not a fancy hotel? What?
And then I'm thinking of the tub. Like, that looked fun when I was a kid, but like, when was this clean last?
Yeah, my friends have a toilet that I remember the first time I walked into their bathroom.
You just have a toilet.
It opened up for me when I walked in, and I thought that was
Wow.
crazy. And then it's got like a touchpad next to the toilet, and you can
What?
like play music and do all this stuff, and you pick the temperature of the seat.
What?
And
I would love
it's
that.
got all the spraying things
on there all
and
day.
drying things.
Oh my
And
gosh.
like a whole thing. Like this toilet was insane. And it speaks to you. Not in a creepy way. Well, a little bit creepy because I didn't know the toilet was going to do all this stuff. So it like welcomes me to the bathroom and opens like, the
Welcome,
whole
Danny.
thing. It was just
In
like
Harry
a lot.
Potter.
I was like, what in the world?
You were in
so that was
there all
fascinating.
day.
Well,
I'm not leaving
it was,
this.
It was during like a party or a dinner, and so I was like, well, I can't be in here like too long, but it just was very comfortable. And I was Googling the toilet
sure.
while I was sitting on it, and then I was like, I literally drove here in a car that cost less than this toilet.
Oh my goodness.
But it was a very nice
How
toilet.
much is the toilet?
$3,500.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's the difference between for me, the bathrooms are my retreat, and I don't feel any pressure to leave a bathroom if I'm on a party.
Oh, yeah.
Only if someone's knocking at the door. The bathroom's my little like.
So
safe
if you're ever
space.
missing, we know where you are.
Yeah. Yep. John is hiding in the bathroom.
Well, it's perfect. It's got music and everything, you know?
Sometimes not even going to the bathroom, just hiding on the bathroom. Just
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
needs some time
he
to charge.
brings Harry
I
Potter.
have a story. In high school, I went to a party and I was so uncomfortable, like being around drinking because I just was never around that. And I hid in the bathroom. So cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
What an oxymoron that
Taking
is.
refuge in the bathroom.
We talked about this in the intro, but then she is so creepy, Myrtle. She goes,
Oh, being
what
in
do
the
you think? Or what do you do? Sneak up here in the evenings to watch the prefects take baths? Sometimes, said Myrtle rather slyly. But I've never come out to speak to anyone before. What a creep. Oh my gosh. I can't even believe how much of a creep she is.
Yeah, I don't even.
She sees a lot.
Yeah.
She sees a lot.
Bending the pages in my book.
But like, you wouldn't see her or hear her. She moans
Either.
all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
I knew that was going. You got to stop locking
you're
eyes. Yeah. If you say something,
I
don't lock
always
eye contact with her.
set myself up unintentionally.
So she is a ghost, so she can control a little bit of wind, a little bit of fire, and a little bit of water, but not much. So I guess you would kind of know if she like glided through you, it'd be colder, or she could like breathe on your neck or something like that. It'd be weird.
While you're in the bath.
Yeah.
Just like that kid in Hey Arnold. You know that?
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
He's drooling in the behind. Like, oh, yeah.
Sounds a little familiar, but it's been so long.
That's right.
You
guys,
no, my name's not.
I am proud of myself. We have been recording for how long, and this is the first time I ran.
That is true.
All right,
I didn't even realize
here's a very
what I
important
said.
line, and this is going to launch Jen onto a very interesting
Oh,
tirade.
no.
Peeves was not the only thing that was moving. A single dot was flitting around a room in the bottom left-hand corner. Snape's office. But the dot wasn't labeled Severus Snape. It was Bartemius Crouch. What was Barty Crouch doing in Snape's office?
Don't. I have a couple
So indigestion. So, I mean, there's a ton of stuff that happens before this. Did you guys because this is going to be a large talking point. So take a deep breath. Is there anything that you guys saw before that? This is when another fun little note is how good of a writer J.K. Rowling is and just throwing stuff right in front of you, or like throwing stuff in a few chapters before so you get reacquainted with something.
Yes.
The vanishing step. Who else?
Neville sees it. Yep.
Which is why my theory, I think, makes sense. Or
go
we both
on.
were talking about a theory. So it wasn't just mine.
Interesting.
Well, Hermione, Ron, and Harry's the potion. What the heck is it called?
Polyjuice?
Yep, Polyjuice potion. I was like, why would that come up earlier on? Because she likes to introduce things and it's not really necessary until later on.
Wait, where did Polyjuice potion come up?
In one of the earlier books, but then Snape says that someone stole an ingredient
skin.
that was a part of Polyjuice potion. So then this whole chapter, I'm thinking Crouch is actually turned into Moody and stealing the Marauders map from Harry.
Wait, time out.
Yep.
Say that again?
That is how crazy I went. I said that in this chapter, Moody is acting weird. His eye is like turning around a lot of times. He's saying things that I don't really believe is actually Moody, Mad Eye Moody. So I'm thinking Crouch was in Snape's office stealing that ingredient to make a Polyjuice potion to turn into Moody to get some information because maybe he's dark.
Time
Wizard.
out. Again, double time out. You think Barty Crouch is taking Polyjuice potion to act like Mad Eye Moody?
Yep.
How often is he doing this? Do you think he's
I don't
being
know.
a judge in the tournament?
I needed to go back and figure this out.
Wait,
But
did
that
he
is
show
how
up to the second event, Crouch? To the second event in the Triwizard
No,
Tournament.
Percy was there.
So, Crouch has been missing since November.
Yeah, because we were talking about it. Wasn't just we were both discussing this theory.
I don't know, but it feels like he actually has been gone since November. So he judged the first part of the tournament. And then could he have been doing Polyjuice that whole time? Polyjuice that we've seen that Hermione did only lasts an hour.
Yeah, but maybe he needed to stock up again. That's why I was in Snape's office.
For sure. But could he get the ingredients? And
I don't know.
Is there not a single time?
That's
and
why
does that
it
mean
seems-
Percy's in on it?
How would he know? Well, he does work for Crouch, but maybe it's through email or some kind of thing, not really in person.
Yeah, that's true. I do think it's Crouch. When Moody picked up the map on the floor and goes towards Harry, he was being nice, but he left Harry in pain in the step. And then as soon as Harry said, "Get me out of here," he did lift him out, but it felt like he didn't really want to. And then he was holding the map, and I thought, if he doesn't give this map back, then he's Crouch. Because of just something about that vibe, because it felt like as soon as he found out that Harry saw Crouch on the map, he's like, I can't give this map back to Harry anymore. And then he found a way to not give it back to Harry. So that all happened in one conversation, but he also helped him in that whole conversation quite a bit from Filch and Snape. And would Moody's eye really work as a magic eye if it was through Polyjuice?
Well, that's what we were. That's what we were going back and forth. Because, like, do you get all of their powers when you have the Polyjuice potion? No, you just look like them. That's where it was.
Yeah, like anything physical. Like, that was the movie was wrong because their voices didn't change, Harry and Ron, when they were Crabbe and Goyle. But in the books, their voices even changed to sound like them. So anything physical, sure.
That's what I thought.
But I don't think of the eye as being physical.
It is, though.
It is?
That's like your anatomy is like
a weird
physical.
thing too. Because if you're taking someone's hair, it's Polyjuice. What if you become like the purest version of them? Like no scars, it's their DNA.
Well, that is another reason why I said, when I re-listened to it, though, I was like, maybe I heard it wrong the first time. But it sounded as though very slightly different. I said Harry was like looking at Mad Eye Moody, and his scars look deeper than they normally did. And it could have just been shadowing, but the way that, why would she put that in there? I was like, maybe he looks slightly different. Very
and Harry
slightly.
couldn't even quite register it, but just slightly different.
And then his eye is literally going crazy. And they never mentioned this once before. Mad Eye Moody eye is like spinning. And it was never mentioned in any of the chapters before this, how much it was moving. And I found that weird.
Like it used to always be in control, but then if this theory of Crouch being moody is correct, he doesn't quite know how to control the eye.
Right.
But he could still
And
see
then
Harry in the
he
invisibility cloak.
also really he said that Crouch was better than Mad Eye Moody. That's
Yes,
what you
that-
said. And I was
yes.
like, oh, this is
I was
not
like,
Mad
wait,
Eye
did
Moody.
he just
There's no
praise
way.
Crouch like that,
Yep.
like basically calling Crouch a better wizard than him.
Yeah,
I was like,
that was
that
weird.
feels weird. Why would he ever say
we
that?
were like,
Wait,
this
time out. Who
seems-
said he was a better wizard again?
Moody was talking to someone.
He was talking to Harry, and then he says in the third person,
Yeah.
Mad Eye
Yeah,
Moody,
yeah.
and then he says I. And so I was like, that's weird because it's like you're talking in the third person, but then you realize that,
Yeah, he said he would
he-
make Mad Eye look
Yep.
tame or something like that.
and then Crouch is even worse or better at putting people in ask. I don't even know, something along those lines. It
Which is
just
bizarre.
didn't sound
Although
like
honestly
him.
could also be true. He was
Yeah,
head of the
maybe.
Aurors and all that.
We could be totally
and Moody could have been Moody's old boss for all we know.
Yeah.
But something doesn't feel like it quite lines up. But that is my most
just
likely theory
seemed-
because the map is like something that we've seen as being true. Like unquestioningly true. If people had paid closer attention to the map, they would have seen that Scabbers is Wormtail that whole time. And so I feel like it's the same thing. We just don't know if Crouch could have gone anywhere else from Snape's office and bailed and why he would be in Snape's office. But I think Moody Polyjuice is our best yet.
Yep. That's the only I can
Although
think of.
that seems pretty intense
Yeah.
because
That is
it
very
feels
intense.
kind of evil.
But then where's
Not
Mad Eye
necessarily.
Moody? Was Mad Eye Moody sleeping at that
So
time?
that's my question for you guys. Where would Mad Eye
Well,
Moody
that's
be?
the thing. It's like he's either like it's a double agent, like he's trying to be present when Mad Eye Moody isn't around, or that whole we were talking about. This was like the whole article where Mad Eye Moody went crazy. The deliveries, like, and who is it that said like whoever was trying really hard not to have Mad Eye Moody come to Hogwarts.
That
was
might have been Sirius.
selling it to Harry.
Yeah, when he was talking about it all, or I mean, we discussed that as an option, even just with Moody, the whole bins incident back when Mr. Weasley had to go help him at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like that could have been someone preventing him from coming to Hogwarts, but it failed. Or if this theory with Crouch was,
Yeah.
is viable, it didn't work for Crouch's purposes because we saw Crouch and Moody both at Hogwarts at the beginning of the year. So it would have been someone else using Polyjuice to be Moody or not at all. But I have a feeling, according to this theory, Moody, it was unsuccessful. That first thing with the bins didn't work. They get to school, and then whoever wanted this bad thing to happen said, we got to try again.
But where was that occurrence? Would J.K. Rowling have written that occurrence? Where was the change where Moody stopped being real Moody and started being fake Polyjuice
That's
Moody?
great. There has to be something. Maybe it's coming up and we haven't gone to it.
When Crouch disappeared, did it happen there? And
'Cause
then
he
where
was
is the
sick,
real
Was
Moody?
the
and then-
first disappearance, but they couldn't have been then because that would have been a perfect time
What?
where Winky was holding his seat and he
Yeah.
never showed up.
Yep.
It's because he was doing Moody crazy stuff. But it doesn't really work
That's before
because we see
school,
them both
though.
at school. Yeah. Could it have been
That's
not
where.
during the? Oh yeah, it couldn't be during the second
The only thing is we haven't seen them together since.
since early school.
That's what I find weird.
What happened in
We haven't seen who together?
October?
Crouch and Bagman?
Mad Eye Moody.
Mad Eye Moody? Wait, what do you mean we haven't seen them together?
Like since the beginning of school year, now they've not been in any scenes together
Crouch and
Till
Moody, yeah.
up to now.
So,
So-
according to the theory, it happened in November. But do we know anything? Wait,
I'm not good with timelines.
That's your job,
could
Danny.
it have been the Yule? No, he didn't come to the Yule Ball.
He disappeared essentially right
Percy.
after the first task.
Right.
Yeah.
So was there some scuffle at the first task?
I feel like there could have been, and then we're not going to read about
To
further.
An incident.
To defend, I'm going to play devil's advocate, I guess, for you guys. To defend Moody in this one instance, this is a chaotic scene regardless of what's happening, which could explain why his eye is moving insanely fast everywhere. Because he gets to this scene, Filch is there, there's a screaming egg, Snape is there, and then Harry is under an invisibility cloak in a stair, in a lot of pain, going, no, don't rat me out. So his eye could be moving like crazy. And then this could be the real Moody, which is why he does want the map again. It could just be flat out. He really wants the map to find a dark wizard.
Yeah.
It does make sense. But your guys' theory is very interesting.
And I genuinely think that would still make sense for him to want the map and keep it. The timing was just suspicious. And I have a hard time picturing Crouch getting out of there unseen with all the drama going down. We know Crouch was in the office. I know,
yeah. Like, how did he leave
that adds
Hogwarts?
a fourth element. If he isn't Moody, then it means Crouch, Moody, Filch, Snape, and Harry are all within hearing distance of a dropped egg. Like, that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
So, well, Crouch could have some clever ways out. We don't know. There could be other secret passages we don't know about. But
then why else were he in Snape's office?
Does Snape sleep? Every time Harry is up in the middle of the night, Snape is always there.
That's because
At least
he's a
he's wearing a
vampire.
nightgown this time. That's a step in the right direction.
He's making out.
Wasn't that
He's
one
wearing
of
a
your theories?
nightgown.
What is that one of your theories way back?
Yeah, he's
he was
a vampire.
Vampire, yeah.
Yep, he is. That would make sense.
I mean, it kind of would
fitting.
make sense. And how close to his office does he sleep?
Wait, was
Does
this
he
also
sleep
the
in
chapter
office?
where his arm starts bothering him
Yeah,
and he
his
touches
left
it?
arm, his forearm, which is
I
the
know.
same thing that was happening
To
to Karkaroff
Crockpot, yep.
when Harry waited in the classroom
I know.
after potions.
But what is that?
I feel like it's a tattoo of the
Dark mark tattoo is
dark
showing itself
mark,
when he's being
some
evil.
kind of like connection to the dark
A tattoo
wizards.
of the dark mark on the forearm?
Yeah, I don't
That
know,
seems a
something along the
little
Cool
lines.
tattoo, I'm not gonna lie.
Would
Okay.
be pretty sweet.
Are you a Slytherin now?
Maybe. A little Slytherin in me.
Huh.
To me, it's like a calling. Like you're all in the same. Like I don't know what's
Well,
it
like
called?
Voldemort
Blood
set up a thing
brothers
to
or
like.
something?
Wait.
Beckoning them.
What did he do before Snape's arm started burning?
He said,
Or
"I
we assume
know
burning, like
something
hurting.
about like we don't trust you, but and then Snape says, "Well, Dumbledore trusts me," and he goes, "Oh yeah, like I don't know some." We'll just find it. But it was along the lines of like, "Well, Dumbledore trusts me, so yeah," but then he touched his forearm. But
Also, why is Crouch dumb? Lighting torches in the office? Use Lumos or something. He lit torches so that Snape walked by and knew that somebody had been in his office.
maybe he wanted that.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe he did want something like that to happen. Maybe he wanted this whole situation to happen.
He wanted this whole situation to happen so that way he can get something else.
And Snape put a spell on his office, a spell none but a wizard could break.
Yeah.
Weird. He's saying an elf
I
couldn't
don't
do
know
it.
any of this stuff.
He's saying a goblin couldn't do it. But does that mean any wizard could?
Or is it like an adult wizard? That's what I was thinking too. Like,
And
do you have to have
maybe that spell
certain-
didn't exist when Harry and Hermione and Ron stole the stuff for the Polyjuice earlier.
Oh, that's
And he's
true.
like, "Oh, I need more security," and then he put the spell on.
Well, they stole that in a different time after class.
Oh,
Caused a
true. That
ruckus.
was midday.
So his
while
stores
he-
were probably open. They
open.
weren't sealed quite at that moment.
I just find it interesting that like we were introduced to the Polyjuice potion. It doesn't really mean anything, and then later on he's saying the ingredients for a Polyjuice potion, and it seems a lot more powerful of a story now. So I think my theory's right.
And I will say this too, like Rowling is very good at dropping things in at good moments, but
Doesn't mean anything ever.
yeah, and she's brilliant. She might have misdirects and stuff like that. Like she might be dropping something in to lead you astray because
Maybe.
you picked that up about her writing already. Like the
I'm also never dissecting a book until this.
yeah, exactly.
It's on. I think it's here. I was trying to find that.
There is another thing that I want to talk about too, that has everything to do with this, but it's a line that Moody or possibly Barty Crouch, if you think it's Barty Crouch.
I know, it gets confusing.
At the end, he says that Harry would be a good Auror and kind of inspires Harry to this new like career profession. Like Harry is like, maybe. Would Barty Crouch say something like that? And he's saying he would be a good Auror for his investigative skills. So maybe this is a defense again of Moody being the real Moody, is that Crouch didn't seem much like an investigator. And he would like Harry if Harry was being righteously furious against something that went bad. This could be the real Moody because Harry is investigating something very well. And that's that's Moody's department. Moody liked the idea of investigating. But...
yeah, because he was more like, he never killed. That's what Sirius said, right? He was like, he tried his best never to kill anyone, bring them to...
He always wanted to bring them to justice. And there's another line here too that I want to talk about where it essentially says Moody knows things about Snape's office. He says he's hiding secrets in there. What do you think those secrets would be? And do you think Barty Crouch would know about those things? Because if this really is Barty Crouch, like you're saying, then how would he know that Moody's Snape's office has secrets in it?
I mean, Snape's
because
secretive,
right now,
so.
Yeah. So Moody is talking to Snape here, and he goes, "Reckon they were after potion ingredients, eh?" said Moody. "Not hiding anything else in your office, are you?" And to me, that question seems a little too ominous. It seems a little too on the nose. Like Moody knows, Moody or Crouch, according to your guys' theory. Your wild theory.
My wild theory. Whatever.
It could be how, like, is Snape truly hiding something in his office?
But I feel like if it was something bad, the real Moody, let's say, for this chapter, he would have confiscated it, or he would have really been on the radar and he would have been on top of Snape, like every move he made. So I feel like it wasn't anything like detrimental to like Harry's well-being.
And if Moody and or Crouch could sneak into the office, or midday children could, then finding something suspicious in the office is not necessarily terrible for Snape, because anyone could have planted it.
Yeah.
But I think it is weird how much Moody knows about, like, Dumbledore told me to keep an eye on you, or eye on the teachers or the school, and how much Dumbledore trusts him. It just feels weird, like the real Moody would know that stuff, but would Crouch know the relationship between Dumbledore and Moody to be able to like adequately fake this to other teachers? I don't know.
I'm not sure either.
But I love seeing Snape so nervous around Moody. It's great. He genuinely is.
So, Jen, I want to go on your theory just for another second, because I have more questions for you.
Great.
Is Barty Crouch suspect number one then, if he is impersonating Moody? Why is he really impersonating Moody?
Well, it was interesting because at this point I'm like, oh, he's bad. But then when you go to the next chapter, when Sirius is talking to him, it kind of changes my thought process. I don't know which one you want. Because at first I was like,
give me the bad one right now, and then when we get to the serious discussion, we'll talk about your good theory.
I feel like everyone trusts Mad-Eye Moody. So like, why wouldn't the bad, let's say this is Voldemort's most servant? Like, yeah, servant, which could make sense because he literally, well, no, because he sent everyone to Azkaban. That was part of the dark, but that could also be a cover, right? You're doing this until it's like the perfect time, or
I mean, he could be protecting them by sending them to Azkaban. Sometimes it's safer to be in prison than out in the world.
Or you've lost everything at this point. All of a sudden you're like, well, you lost everything, you know, in these movies and stuff. And they're like, you have nothing. So why don't you just turn to the dark side? And then they like do. And then they're doing all this stuff because they have nothing else to live for. So it could be that. And he's like, all right, well, Mad-Eye Moody, everyone trusts him because of his reputation. And if I cover as him, Dumbledore will believe me. I can get access to a lot more things, a lot more teachers. I can probably even get Harry to trust me more because Mad-Eye Moody has a good reputation. And Sirius even said all the people you can trust, and Mad-Eye Moody is one of them. So I feel like it would just tee up for the best, like undercover to get Harry in a situation to bring him to Voldemort or whatever he wants to do with him.
And we've said from day one, Moody is one of the people we trust the most. So
exactly.
to get someone that we trust the most, and that Harry probably trusts the most, that's a really good plot. But how?
But how what? To get Harry?
How did Barty Crouch take Moody's person?
I mean, they were together a few times, so he could have totally taken hair off of him.
Yeah.
But to subdue him.
How? Why would you just...
Well, because where is he now?
Well, yeah, I know.
Yeah,
but
so
he's
I feel like
powerful enough.
You think Crouch is more powerful than Moody? Maybe just the element of surprise.
I feel like they both are equal in my mind, I guess. They just have different skill sets.
Yeah.
So here's another futuristic point. From this point on, is every instance that we see Moody, is that going to be Barty Crouch? I don't know. Because if it's not, and it's Moody is coming back, then the next day Harry goes to class and like says, hey, thanks for backing me up in the hall last night.
That's where I'm going to play detective and figure out how this plays out.
Like what?
It's like either Mad-Eye Moody, Crouch as Mad-Eye Moody is certain situations that's like after school, after hours, like those things where he can get away with Mad-Eye Moody sleeping and doing like being away. Or Mad-Eye Moody is under some spell, maybe even the illegal spell that like he was teaching in his classes, and is stuck somewhere on like a hamster wheel, just going over on and on and on, and Crouch is taken over. I have to see his character traits in the next few chapters.
Yeah. I was trying to think if there were like words that Moody said or that Crouch said that we could try and compare, like linguistic things to line up. Didn't really have time to dig in deep. I go back and forth.
I know it seems very weird, but there's part of me that's like, I don't know. There's a few things I just like feel like
if this is the real Moody and Crouch just came over to go into Snape's office, I'm curious what he wanted and if he got it, and then where he's going with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It feels weird.
Like what else? I guess like to me, it doesn't make, what else would he be getting?
Yeah. Agreed.
So let's pivot the discussion then to Snape, because Snape seems like a really strange bad character, regardless if this is real Moody or who you think Barty Crouch Moody. What is in Snape's office that this person is after?
I mean, he's a potion guy, so there's maybe something.
Wait, so we know it's Barty Crouch that's in Snape's office,
right?
Period.
Because of the map.
Whether it was Moody, as Moody or not.
Exactly.
What was Barty Crouch truly after in Snape's office?
I feel like it almost confirms to me that Crouch is up to no good. He's either Moody or he's stealing from Snape, but like that feels really fishy, unless he's trying to catch Snape doing something bad.
Because we learn a lot about Snape's backstory in some of these. Not a lot, but we know that he was given a second chance, and we're going to talk about what his second chance might be.
Yep.
And then we have this description. Snape suddenly did something very strange. He seized his left forearm convulsively with his right hand, as though something on it had hurt him.
Yeah.
Which is your theory, which is kind of fun, that they have a tattoo of the dark mark on their forearm.
I don't know, like glows. Well, because Crockpot was like, he was saying like, look, it's never been more clear.
Yeah.
To Snape, and Snape's getting upset at him. So to me, it's like, I'm wondering, do they all have some kind of mark on their wrists? As Voldemort's power gets stronger and he can protect them, it shows up because they're all tagged, and like, oh, okay, like now I can act like my full dark wizard self because he'll protect me because it's like full power. And like, I guess That's what I was thinking when he was talking to Snape. I've never seen it at full power. Or it could be the complete opposite and be like a warning, like they're no longer in the dark wizard world, but they are still attached in this way. So they're like, I've never seen it get so close, or I forget what he said, so clear,
I think.
And they're concerned, like now, okay, we're no longer part of it. If Voldemort comes back into power, we're in deep trouble because we've betrayed the dark wizards and we're now on this side. So what is he going to do to us? Like I could see like both sides, but that's my theory.
Spots that never come off.
Well,
You know
that's
what
the
I
other
mean?
thing that I was like a spot. I thought it was, what's the word I want when
What?
it's not real? Like,
Fake.
no, a metaphorical term, like
Oh,
spots
yeah.
that never come off. But then he points
says
to
it
his
again,
forearm.
though.
Yeah.
I know he says it twice, and then he points to his forearm. So I'm like, wait, is it actually like a spot which could be a mark from being in the dark
Yeah.
wizarding world?
But I think I'm also just confused about that too. Like, let's say it's Crouch Moody, and he says this to Snape. Is this a knowing thing? Like, hey, we're both bad. Wink, wink. Like, you feel that burning sensation in your arm, and like he's causing this, right? Like, is this a weird moment of trust between the two of them? Like, I was in your office for good reason, or like, let me get away with something. I'm making your arm burn right now, or like. Or is it true intimidation and he's getting in Snape's head? Because we know that Snape, or we assume Snape and Karkaroff have the same mark on their arm. So for the same reason they're sneaking off and whispering about stuff, they're in something together. And now it makes me wonder if Crouch is in it with them too.
Or there could be another secret club where like all the people that left Voldemort that actually want to be good are in a club together.
All the ex-Voldemort people in the club.
What would that club be called? The ex-Voldy Club?
The crock pot.
The Crockpots.
Oh, man.
Who is Lord Voldemort's most devoted servant?
Crouch.
Or Karkaroff.
Or Snape. Snape's been undercover for
Bagman.
years. I know, this is why it's so annoying. There's like 4 people
Yeah.
that I think it could be still. But how long has Snape been a professor? Do we know that yet? No.
No.
We've gotten
'Cause a
hints
part of
about it.
me-
It's been a long time.
I wonder though, could it be such an undercover job where it's like, we didn't kill Harry Potter, but you need to go to the school because Harry Potter's eventually going to be in that school and you're going to catch him when he's old enough to be in that school.
So this plot has been
So-
years in the making.
Years in the making, and Snape is, I'm just saying, this could
As
be
the backup plan.
the
yeah.
back. Yep, Snape, you're just going to play
Yep.
it cool. You get a second chance, Dumbledore. You're going to play it like super, like, you're going to protect him when you can, whatever. And when I tell you go, that's when you do it.
Could Dumbledore be deceived that easy?
I don't know. He sees everything.
Yeah, I mean, he was deceived by Quirrell. He was deceived by Lockhart.
But was he? Or he just allowed things to happen?
That's kind of been one of our go-to little debates.
I
Yeah.
know.
Does he know? Can he read minds? Does he allow things to happen or people to go through pain? Or
I mean, there was that one moment that is slightly disturbing where he flies away from the school and then he flies back, but there's almost this idea where he flew away knowing, we'd had this discussion where he flew away knowing that Harry would be able to deal with this. But that's a little concerning to me that it's Quirrell-Demort. Like Voldemort's on the back of his head and
Dumbledore
Dumbledore's just
knew and
leaving
like
him.
left.
Yeah.
that was
is
a weird moment, but he turned around
yeah, for sure.
and came back, which is also weird.
But then he's not all knowing because why would he have left
Yeah.
in the first place?
But how did he know mid-flight to London that he needed to be back at Hogwarts?
He just
and
had a
then he
sudden urge
returned?
to come back.
Either way, that change of plans seems to imply that Dumbledore has to adjust. He doesn't know everything infinitely. He might have a really good feel for what's going to happen, but he can be wrong and have to change plans and kind of say, all right, I better go back and help Harry. Or, yeah.
Why is this, whatever is on their forearm, why is it getting clearer to you, Jen? What is the reason that it's getting clear?
I think it's somehow correlated to Voldemort's power getting stronger. Like he's
gaining gaining power. So their tattoo to you is gaining strength.
Yeah.
Gaining ink.
Yeah. Glowing. Because I don't know what else it could be.
I almost thought of it more like a punishment. Like people who had worked for Voldemort in the past got this as like a reminder mark so that they couldn't hide.
Almost like a scar, which is kind of what Harry has to an extent. And so maybe there's more pain associated with that, and the same pain that Harry experiences maybe to an extent.
Yeah, like Harry experiences it in his forehead, but I feel like other people in other ways. And I think when I first read it, just like the spot doesn't come off, I was thinking the Ministry is putting this on people like as a mark to say like, we'll give you another chance, but we want other people to be able to identify that you were involved in whatever. So here's a
that
mark.
makes sense too. But then how is it getting clearer?
Well, that I don't fully get that. That is weird, but it feels like the kind of thing that Moody would be in tune with. If he was real Moody, maybe not Crouch Moody, but real Moody would know as an Auror. He's like, oh yeah, a bunch of these people, like the ex-cons of the wizarding world, have this mark on them, and he has some ability to, you know, shock collar these people with their mark, or track them through the mark or whatever it is, you know, because it felt like he knew that was going to cause Snape pain here. And that's the part that I'm confused about.
That's the chest that he opens.
Tracker?
I just open the chest and he hits the button and all.
Yeah, he's got like some powerful weapon in there, like a GPS screen, a little command center.
There's just one more question that I have of this chapter.
Just one more?
It says Moody winked at him. Is every time Moody blinks, is that a wink?
Yeah, which eye winks? Great question.
Oh, he only has one eye.
Like every time he looks at a student and blinks, you're like, oh, Moody winked at me right there.
He winks all day long.
I mean, there is another side note to all this that we just talked about too. The idea that he encourages Harry in being an Auror, which is a really cool thing, I think. Harry has never thought about his profession before. And I feel like this is a moment where he kind of thinks about it, where he's like, like that's an interesting idea there. And I feel
like he would be good at it.
Yeah. This is why maybe this is my defense that this is the real Moody, because would Barty Crouch, if Barty Crouch is evil, really be encouraging Harry to go be an Auror?
This does feel like going
Why
above
not?
and beyond if it's Crouch. But we don't know Crouch's endgame. Even if he stole stuff, we don't know if he's good or bad. If he's pretending to be Moody, we don't know. But this feels like the nicest side of Crouch we've ever seen if it's him.
Yeah.
He's like, what, giving career advice to Harry?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, but it also could be like a slap in the face. Like, yeah, you should be an Auror, but you don't even know what's in front of you.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
That's
Like
true,
later,
yeah.
Harry's going to feel silly because he's like, oh, I'm a terrible Auror. I couldn't see
This is like
Crouch right in front of me.
That's actually heavy. That's like, this is the worst kind of trash talk of all time. Where you say something and you're like, you should be an Auror, Harry. And
Exactly.
I bet
really,
you'd never
Harry
see
doesn't
evil
see
right in
what's
front of your
directly in
eyes.
front of him.
You
and
can
then
sniff it right
when Harry finds out, he's like, I'm never going to be an Auror in my entire life.
Yep.
Wow.
See?
Jen is on fire tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Advanced trash talk.
I told you. Chapter.
Let's go to chapter 26, unless you had anything in this one, Danny.
Give him a second.
There's a lot, and we'll revisit some of this too as we go on.
Yeah, there's a lot. Let me just read through my actual notes because I listened to it. Oh, I didn't know Hagrid actually bred the blast-ended Scroots.
Oh, yeah.
That was funny and also weird and also probably over the line. And I'm like, man, Hagrid did it again. Just like show the kids unicorns and chill for a little. Stop like getting crazy. Oh yeah, perfect bathroom. Sounds amazing. There's a diving board in there, question mark.
Yeah. What the heck are the prefects doing? Are you kidding me with this?
Yeah.
That's because they have to follow so many rules. They need to relax after.
Myrtle should scout the lake for him.
Yeah, seriously.
And why doesn't Harry want to visit Myrtle? Well, she's creepy.
Harry's going to need a restraining order very soon.
Oh yeah, the Weasleys should make him a canary cream, but the fish version.
Oh man, they need to talk to freaking Fred and George. Would have been so good at this. There's also a lot of debate the most recent podcast that we just published, we talked about Fred and George. We had a few people on our subreddit talk about what they feel like is the difference between Fred and George.
Ooh, nice.
Usually we think of them only as a pair, and it's kind of headcanon for some people on our subreddit because one person commented and made a thread, and a few other people commented underneath that Fred is the more extroverted one, and George is a little bit more
I like
introverted,
that,
and like
yeah.
the one that he just kind of goes along with the pranks because Fred really likes doing things. Because Fred seems to be the voice of the two.
Yep.
Oi, Angelina.
Yeah,
Go
that's
to the ball
exactly
with
what
me.
I thought.
And they're dancing like crazy, and you don't see George doing anything. You don't even know who his date is. So
You don't hear him talk that much
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
So
always Fred.
I kind of
said.
like that idea that Fred's a bit more
That makes
extroverted.
sense.
Makes me happy. I'm akin with George.
All right,
Are
I'm
you,
good.
though,
That was
in
it for
Harry
this
Potter
chapter.
world. I don't know.
All right. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. Just as a reminder to everyone, we stopped this podcast about halfway through recording, so the second half of this podcast is going to be released later in the week where we finish our discussion on chapters 24 to 27, but we're talking about 26 to 27. So join us later this week as we discuss those chapters. Their predictions in this chapter were just insane. I can't wait to talk about them more.